Well, hello. Today I've decided to come down to Loe Beach at Feock, and I'm going to paint. I think I'm going to paint this view here. So I quite like this sort of way this angles out towards the open sea over there, which is over towards Falmouth Bay. And I think that's what I'm going to concentrate on today. Trying to get some of these shapes right in here that lead us out into this nice open sea and sky there. So that's what I'm going to concentrate on. There's over towards Pandora Inn over there, and that's the Roseland Peninsula over there, where we'll be at some point over the winter. Using a 30 centimetre square piece of plywood which has got some muslin glued to it. This is the muslin which I've glued to the plywood, and it's an old painting which I painted over, and I put this sort of yellow alkyd over the top so it dried quite quickly. And today we're using I've got my dirty terps in that pot there, clean terps in there. I've got a titanium white, cadmium yellow, deep lemon yellow. There's a bit of cadmium orange there left over from last time, cadmium red, magenta, bit of Indian red from last time. I just pushed through the skin on the paint there to get that exposed to the wet paint. I've got some nice raw sienna, bit of yellow ochre, and there's some burnt umber for a change. I brought in a violet, ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, that's a manganese blue, and I've got a nice Michael Harding ivory black in here which I'm going to start using to go out with rather than the cheap one which was over here, and a bit of sap green which I may use, and of course my glass palette. So we're all set up. There's my brushes down there and a spare palette if needed, and I'm going to get going because it's getting towards lunchtime and I don't want to be painting while I'm hungry. Okay, let's stick you up there so that can run across like that pretty much. We have that, so we want that area down here. There's the beach, that comes like this and swings out. That will swing up and round, something like that. So that comes down, something like that, and out. And all this can just be blocked in quickly, and that's got to go a bit further across if I want to get this area in here. That's got to go up. That's got to be something like that. So that's quite wide. So just take that out. And up to here, like that. So that needs to be fairly dark on the horizon line, and dragged across over there. Lovely oyster catchers. I love that sound. Flying past. Alright. Let's get that brightness in before it disappears in the horizon line there. It's almost quite a bit warmer than what I would normally do. It's very bright. Let's get that colour. Oh, that's a nice colour. There's a violet mixed in with that lemon yellow and a bit of the blue. That's a very nice colour. I do like that. And place that just up there. It goes in there. And obviously now it's feeding time because the tide's going out. These oyster catchers getting excited at the prospect of finding some food. Back into that sky. I think we're going to stick with that cobalt blue and raw sienna, maybe a little bit of ivory black in there. Quite like that in here. Faint cloud across here that will react quite nicely against that yellow that's in the sky. Same here. I quite like that. It's subtle, but it's there. Same on the other side. It needs to be quite dark against that wall, that sky. Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there. There's like a boat yard, so somebody's getting some gardening done. Let's put that in there. Quite levels of light. Some light areas now catching on top of the water. Right, it's going to go dark. There's no darks like that in there. So this is where we're at the moment. That's the scene we're looking at, and I've blocked in all my main areas of the this rock, this area here that's sweeping in, taking us into the painting, and the sky's blocked in. I've left the headland unpainted at the moment, just a few darks to show me where it is, and same on that side, Roseland Peninsula. So there's the sky painted in. I've roughly painted the water in, and I've put the rough colour in to match the sand and pebbles, and yeah, it's moving on quite nicely, so I'll get on with that now and see what we make of it. I'll just add a little bit of terps into that just to get it to flow a bit. That's a nice colour, I quite like that. That's raw sienna and the violet. I can use that down here quite strong in some areas. That'll give us some nice nice depth. Let's get the magenta into that as well. I quite like the idea of magenta with the raw sienna. Let's use some of that in some of these areas here. I want it to be really dark, and as it's in the foreground, let's get this down here. We don't need this to be perfect. This is just a quick idea for maybe a studio painting, so we don't need to make too much of it today. It would be nice to have a good record so I can use it as reference. seaweed's sort of wet. Get a bit darker in the edge of that seaweed here, so it stands out a bit more. Just under there. Tricky. Yeah, it needs to look much better, much more different than that compared to the water. Just blend this in a little bit more with the knife in places I want, quite like that. Got that sort of seaweedy. It goes around a bit more up to there. Yeah, see, this is seaweed, but it's actually it's wet. So it's got a bit of taking a bit of the colour of the sky. There's actually some nice orange leaves in the sort of seaweed. I'm going to put that in. Stick a couple of those leaves in with the palette knife. Just make some marks. Random. Keep it random if I can. It's a nice light one up there. Let's get this water sorted out before we move on to the background. Some lemon yellow, white and orange. Just more like this will make this stand out then. How dark's that? Okay, let's risk it and put that in here. It goes quite green almost as it goes off over here. I just want a few little marks where it's the odd wave you can see. Nothing too much. Leave a bit of yellow in here. And just make some of these a little bit smaller as I go back. Be painted in the seaweed on the rocks at the front on the beach. Water is I'm quite happy with the water for the moment. That's what I've got at the moment for the water. And there's the seaweed. I put some of the autumn leaves that are that have made their way onto the rocks. I put some of those in with a palette knife, just not too thick, just to lightly mark them in. And now it's time to just finish off that headland at the back. A bit more detail in there. And then we'll call it a day, and it's lunchtime. I'm going to have my sandwiches in the car, looking out onto the water, listening to the oyster catchers, and that's where we're at. So there's my palette. So really I've got all these colours out. I haven't touched the green at all, I just really hardly use the blues, mainly cobalt blue, and I've used up all the raw sienna, you see, and used quite a bit of burnt umber in the seaweed there. Right, better carry on. So let's bring that across. I quite like the way that works at the top there, so I don't really want to change that. I quite like that. We've got heron coming over now. Yeah, just paint these in with the rigger. It definitely needs to go a bit more towards the green over here rather than yellow. I quite like the way that comes out there. And we've got a bit of green over here. What I'm going to do is put a bit of violet with that sap green. Knock that back a bit. I don't want that to be too green over here. Differentiate it from the trees that have got no colour. Area down there is actually quite lemony yellow. Something like that. Something in here. That's not dark enough now. Push that up there, try and get this shape roughly how it is. It's quite a distinctive shape. These trees just like coppice, little wood at the top there. Something like that. And then that goes across. Now we'll bring it as a hedge. Field runs across there. Some trees. Runs across down there. This one comes across like this to join that. Right, that can just come along here. That goes up. It's a bit higher than what I've got, I think. We'll just get a palette knife and just knock them back a little bit. A minute, see if I can just get this bit finished with some of those boats in over there. What I'll do is just run a light colour across there like that, and with a palette knife, if I can, we'll just run some of that up like that. Some buildings in there as well, I see. That's sailing a bit better, a bit darker at the back. Finish off with some of these waves, try and get some of these areas. There's some nice sort of deep greens just coming in here. these areas catching the light. I think that might do us actually. Okay, so that's what we came up with at the end of that session. I think we've been painting for about an hour, something like that. Got good fun. Light sun's just decided to come out now, a bit more over towards the right, but we've timed it right. The light was pretty constant throughout, quite a grey day apart from on the horizon there, over towards Falmouth. And yeah, good fun. So that's what we've ended up with after about an hour of painting. Oils on plywood panel covered in muslin, and yeah, really good fun. Great spot. Back again. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. So that's back in the studio under better lighting. I've just fiddled up with it a little bit while it was still wet, so it's all alla prima oils, and yeah, much happier with it now. It's doing what it is. It's hard to tell when you're outside, the light's so different. It's always good to take it back inside and make a few adjustments as necessary, just to try and make it into a better painting and something like what you were trying to do outside. So there we go. Thanks. Cheers.